Would you tell a stranger on the internet your darkest secret? No. Then why are you typing it into an AI model that sends your words to a remote server across the globe? Today I'll show you how your prompts, yes, the things you type into ChatGPT, Claude, Grok or DeepSeek, don't just disappear. They are transferred, processed, sometimes stored and occasionally leaked. And you don't have to live in a surveillance state for that to happen. Now, what really happens to your prompts? Your prompt gets transmitted over the internet to a remote server, typically hosted on cloud infrastructure. There, it's analyzed, processed, and sometimes logged. Even if the company says it deletes your data, there's a time window when your words do exist on their systems. Some models are trained using real user inputs. Some companies allow employees to view flagged conversations. And nearly all providers reserve the right to use your prompts to improve their models, unless you opt out. So, where does that leave your private info? Not as private as you might think. Now, let's talk about DeepSeek, a fast-growing AI tool from China. Unlike ChatGPT or Claude, DeepSeek quietly connects to Baidu, China's equivalent of Google, multiple times per request. Congrats, you're being surveilled. Baidu is closely tied to Chinese data regulations, which are not exactly famous for prioritizing user consent or transparency. So if you're using DeepSeek, your data may be bouncing through Chinese servers with little to no protection on how it's used or stored. I covered this in detail in another video. You can find that linked in the description. Okay, but let's not pretend Western companies are saints. Meta, the company behind Facebook, trained its Llama 3 model using millions of pirated books and academic papers. We're talking about content pulled from LibGen and Z Library, two of the biggest illegal file repositories on the web. According to an Atlantic investigation, Meta's internal documents admitted this was the only way to compete with OpenAI. They knew the copyright risks. They did it anyway. And yes, one of my own books is in there. Here it is. Let me show you in this search tool. Thank you, Meta, for using my book to train Llama 3 without asking. But why stop at just one book? I got a few more. Knock yourself out. And sure, don't worry about compensation. It only took me about a year of burning the midnight oil after my day job to write that book. So, if you're an author or academic, you can check whether your work was scraped too. I've linked the search tool in the description. Now, some people say, but I trust Apple, I trust OpenAI, I trust Google. Okay, let's talk about trust. Remember when Jeff Bezos' private photos were leaked? How about Jennifer Lawrence, Scarlett Johansson, and dozens of other celebrities who had their private images stolen? In many of these cases, it wasn't some state-sponsored hacker breaking a super encrypted system. It was cloud storage misconfigurations, weak passwords, or insiders with access. So even if you trust the brand, you're still at risk, because systems are only as secure as the humans running them. And what if the system is secure? Well, governments can still demand access. Just recently, the UK government asked Apple to remove its most secure encryption feature for UK customers. Why? So law enforcement could access user data more easily. That's right. In a Western democracy, the government is pushing to weaken security, not strengthen it. I linked the source in the description if you want to read more. So again, you don't need to live in a dictatorship for your data to be accessed without your permission. Here's my advice. Don't type anything into an AI tool that you wouldn't post on Reddit. If you wouldn't share it on X or Facebook, don't feed it to ChatGPT, Claude, Grok, or DeepSeek. Because once your data enters the pipeline, you lose control. Even without leaks, even without bad actors, you don't know where it goes, how long it stays there, or who has access. I'm not saying never use AI. I'm saying treat it like a public space, not a private diary. Now go and check out my other video on how DeepSeek quietly connects to Baidu. It's also linked in the description. And if you're an author, go search that meta training dataset. You might be surprised what you find. Thanks for watching, and I see you in the next one.